Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well out there. We are back and we are live on today, Wednesday, the 14th of May. I don't know why I'm always surprised by what bloody day it is. Well, we're back and we're feeling good. We're continuing with spoiler season for Final Fantasy. A reasonable amount of cards were spoiled yesterday. I think about 20 or so we'll go through those and then we'll go back through some of the ones we didn't have time to fully touch on yesterday. Right, well, let's jump in. We have a lot to get through. Let's see what we got. Alright, up first we have Magitech Scythe. 4 generic, artifact equipment. Equip is 2, and it has a test of your reflexes. When this equipment enters, you may attach it to target creature you control. If you do, that creature gains first strike until end of turn and must be blocked this turn if able. And it gets +2/+1 as the static. So the auto equip is nice, but this feels a bit underpowered if I'm honest with you. Like four generic, 2 equip. So all these ones are from the regular set until otherwise mentioned. This is, if I got this as a rare in a pack, I'd be a little bit underwhelmed, I think it's fair to say. Like 4 mana, yes it auto equips to something and gives it first strike. And as you look at this Fable is nice. Like the dream of this card is it's a removal spell. Like they have 1 awesome creature, you have 1 slightly less good creature, you attack with it. Also, you cast this 4 mana spell, you equip it automatically, you attack, you then get to trade with their creature. That is the ideal situation, but it's just like, when you're in a world where an Edict effect is good, you're not in a great place. I think this one isn't fantastic, and I'd be a bit bummed out if I opened this one as a rare. I don't know what the flavour is, but I'm not super blown away by that card. Alright. Xande, Dark Mage, 2 and a Dimir for a 3/3 legendary creature, human wizard, with menace, and it gets +1 for each non-creature, non-land card in your graveyard. Okay. This seems fine. This doesn't really seem like one you're going to necessarily build a commander deck around, but just as a limited rare, this seems perfectly fine. Yeah, all you need is like 1 removal spell in your bin, which is probably going to happen after 4. Like by the time you hit 4 mana in Dimir, and then you have a on-rate menace creature. That's pretty solid. This one seems like a pretty good one for limited. Seems like a nice one to open at pre-release. If this becomes like a 5/5 or a 6/6 for 4 mana, that's going to be pretty easy. Like there will be cantrips in this set. There will be cheap spells. There'll be pump spells. Like bread and butter limited cards. Don't really see it going much higher than that, but perfectly solid card. Alright. Next up we have Seymour Flux. Meow. Next up we have, it is 4 and a black for legendary creature, spirit avatar. Darling, we've started. Come on. Come on, small cat. Good to see you. Yes. Yes. You've been outside, you've run around, you've sunned yourself. Good girl. Good peachy. Marvellous. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 1 life. If you do, draw a card and put up some counter on Seymour Flux, and it is a 5/5. Okay, so it is a slightly more expensive Phyrexian Arena. Again, fine in limited. I'm not sure where else this is going to go. The thing with these cards, I've talked about it before on this channel. The thing with Phyrexian Arena is just it's very slow nowadays. Like for Commander anyway. Like for Commander, you just need the card straight away. You don't want to wait a whole turn cycle. And this is just kind of like an easy card to just point a removal spell at in a game of Commander. Again, this is what I kind of want in limited. This seems perfectly fine. If you open this in pre-release, this seems like a perfectly fine way of drawing some cards, and it is an on-rate creature, but it's just kind of we're so kind of at the point with rares now that this just seems like we should be doing better. Are these from a? Do you want to check? Are these from the main set, or are these from like an ancillary product? These kind of seem like power level of cards that are from an ancillary product rather than the main set. You know what I mean? Where was the very first couple of cards that were spoiled? Are these from the bloody dual deck? Yeah, these look like these are from the Precon dual decks, don't they? Cloud Planet Champion. Starter kit. Yeah, this looks like these are the cards from the starter kit. This is why they're a little bit anemic. Marvellous. So we'll kind of give these an overview then. 5 mana, destroy target creature and opponent controls, then draw a card for each creature that died this turn. That's fine. Yeah, these are kind of on the realm of being bad Magic cards. Let's look at ones from the main set then. Alright, we have... when it enters tap all creatures, the opponent's control, whenever a creature you control does combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, for 6 mana, 4/4. I was wondering, like, these cards don't seem very pushed, and it's because, yeah, they're specifically not. These are intro cards. So if you want to get your hands on these cards, you should be able to buy the dual deck thing. Alright, let's move on to some real cards. Let's look at Ultima Orange Origin of Oblivion. It is 5 generic mana for a 4/4 legendary creature god with flying. And whenever Ultima attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap, add a generic. Whenever you tap a land for a generic, add an additional generic. So this is quite hot. I actually quite like this card. We haven't seen generic matter stuff since... So yeah, there was a bit in Modern Horizons 3, a nice little sprinkling there, and then before that it was all the Eldrazi's from Oath of the Gatewatch. And this was a very cool mechanic and a very cool deck, but it's just never really had the support that it needed to actually kind of do more with it. Kind of like, I'm thinking more of this for Cube, where you have just some very cool cards. Let's have a look. So, in them, I want colorless Eldrazi, and we want... Let's actually just get the ones from Oath of the Gatewatch or MH3. So stuff like this. These are very cool cards. So these are things that in Limited, anyway, you need to draft your wastes. I don't think we've seen that there's waste cards in this set, or cards that need colorless. Oh, actually, no, sorry, there are. There are wastes in this set, aren't there? Where is it? We've definitely seen when they did all the basics. Maybe because it's not a new card, it's not going to appear on this list. But yeah, I think there are wastes in this set. There are wastes in Final Fantasy. Oh, let's just quickly... So if Colorless Matters is coming back, that's pretty vibey, and I'm kind of here for it. No, not snow-covered wastes. Waste. Yeah, here we go. Final Fantasy. So there are wastes in this set. So that means that we are expecting to see a sprinkling of Colorless Matters. This is an archetype I do want more for, because these Eldrazi are all really cool. Like, things like Matter Reshaper. When it dies, real top card of your library, you may put that card on the battlefield if it's a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less. Very cool card. Reality Smasher. Really awesome little beef card. 5 mana, 5/5 trample haste. When it becomes the target of a spell and opponent controls, that they just counter that spell unless its controller discards a card. Is this Ward discard a card now? It might be Ward discard a card now. But Thought Not Seer, great magic card. These are cards I want to run in Cube. These are cards that I want to run. If I was running them in a Cube, I probably wouldn't make my players draft basics. I would just put wastes in the land box, basically. But these are cards that I want to run, but it hasn't really been enough to kind of, if I'm honest, warrant me buying like 20 snow wastes yet. But if we go this way with Final Fantasy, with something like Ultimate, like this is a nice little reward. Like turning off your opponent's, like, kind of the ideal with this is yes, you can use this to make your lands tap for double colorless, or you can cast this generic 5 color card and then cast your Thought Not Seer, because that's how you're getting your generic color. Because with this colorless here, you have to spend colorless. It has to be from a colorless source. It can't be like it's different to the generic next to it. But with Ultima, it would let you, in theory, get that generic source. And it would make you, like, if you have a waste, it would also cost for double waste. But the thing with this is, what I kind of want to be doing with this is effectively turning off my opponent's lands. Like, mana bases in Cube have got so exceptionally greedy since Triomes have come out. And there's only Strip Mine, Wasteland, and like a couple of, and like maybe you run one of the ones where both of you go and get basics as well. Like, do I even run the other ones? Yeah, Field of Ruin. So you kind of have like 3 bits of land hate that kind of like most that kind of like higher power level cubes are generically running. This is a nice thing for that. You're not yes, you're not taking them down on land, but just turning off a Triome for that splash, because in cubes and such, or in cube decks, someone like if you're splashing, you need at least 3 sources of that color, but you could be getting that by fetch Triome. So if you actually turn off the Triome with this, they then can't cast their splash card. I like ways of punishing greedy mana. I want to encourage greedy mana bases in Cube, but I also don't want just like 5-color soup decks to become the best deck there. So having a nice little valve with this, I think it's pretty solid, on top of it being a 5-mana 4/4 flyer. I like this card. I think it's cool. I want to see more colorless matter stuff before Thought-Knot Seer's back on the menu. But there's some really cool ones here that I would like to run. Like, it Heralds the End is both good in a artifact deck and a colorless matters deck. Endbringer's a really sweet magic card. There's actually another one. Is it Eldrazi Displacer? It's a white card, but it's a flicker card that it's a white and a flicker card that you can cast it for 2 and a white, but you need a colorless land to activate its flicker. But then the flicker part is really strong. This is a very good, very repeatable flicker effect. It's just you need that colorless source. That's the downside. And I haven't had a reason to put colorless in my cube. If I was going to add it, we would do colorless, and then we would add pain lands. Shivan Reef. This isn't the best example, but like this cycle. So I would add these colors, like these, probably all over my cube, just because they are fixing. But they also give you this generic mana as well. That's how I would probably add colorless matters. And we've seen a little bit in this set. I'll just search by color. I'm assuming they should come at the start, because if there'll be no color. Oh, they go at the end then. I swear we saw another one, maybe. Maybe that was on the leaks. Maybe we'll come back to that later. But yeah, we have Adventures Inn as a colourless land. So they have mentioned the potential of some bits in this set. So hopefully it's something that we can come back to. Alright. So what other new cards were there from the actual set? Are you in the actual set? Is this... It's not my fault. There's so many numbers in this thing. Right. 107. You're in the meal set. Marvelous. Namazu Trader. 3 and a black creature. Fish Citizen. Oh, that is a vibey creature type. We love this. When this creature enters, you lose 1 life and create a treasure token. When this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. Bless me. Apologies. If you do, Surveil 1. Surveil 2. When this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact if you do Surveil 2. This is fine. Oddly, this is more useful than a bunch of these cards, but don't worry about it. Yeah, we're kind of seeing a sprinkling of sacrifice matter stuff in this, like with Sephiroth being a primo example of that. Primo is like one of the best, or Sephiroth looks like one of the better blood artists they printed recently. This is kind of like a bread and butter common thing for that deck. Making a treasure token is nice. Just on ETB, that gives you your little bit of value back. It's kind of fine for it being an undercosted creature. Yeah, and then just gives you a bit of card selection later in the game. You can either sack the treasure to cast your 5-drop next turn, or yeah, cash it in to Surveil 2 if that card isn't in your hand. Seems like a pretty solid role player in Limited. Nothing to massively write home about. Alright, what do you do? All right, so this is a translation, so if it's an exact, blame Scryfall, not myself. Please and thank you. MS Prima Vista, 4 and a blue, legendary artifact creature, vehicle. It's a 5/3 with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if 4 or more mana was spent to cast it, MS Prima Vista becomes an artifact creature until end of turn, and crew 2. This is alright. This is nothing super special or something to write home about, but it's in limited. This will work out fine. This is very much kind of reminds me of like the first time we saw vehicles in Kaladesh, where basically it is an upgrade to a creature you already have. Like you play this later in the game to turn your 2-powered creature into something a bit more. Basically, when your 2-power creature gets outclassed on the battlefield because the curve of the game has got higher, you can play this, and then effectively you're jumping it and giving it 5 power. Yeah, 5 power flying is a lot. It's not costed wise, is not fantastic, but like the fact it can crew itself. I wonder if we see if non-creature spells with 4, there's plenty of green decks that care about creatures that either cost more than 4 or cost more than 4 or 5 or power 4 or more. We haven't really seen non-creature spells cost more than 4 matters before. I don't think that there's too much of that in this set, but it could be an interesting way of them taking it. So yeah, fine, solid, nice little bread and butter card. We have another legend. Ooh. Zidane Cheerful Ransomer. It is 3 red and a white, 3/3 creature, human mutant scout. When Zidane, I just see Zidane. When Zidane enters, gain control. Zizou gains control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. Whenever an opponent gains control of an opponent you control, create a treasure. Okay. Having a nice little threaten effect on a creature is quite nice. Oh, this is okay. Because it has the gain control of target creature opponent controls, it means it's not infinite with Kiki Jiki. But that's fine. Well, it's fine that commons from new sets don't go infinite with that. Sorry. Cat wants to come back. Meow. This seems cool. Nice. Yeah. Threaten effects are, again, bread and butter in limited, and this is just like a solid card. If you were to build around this, the gifting stuff, like basically this goes in Zedru. Has there been a better one printed since of just Zedru muck around with your opponent stuff? Yeah, Zidane goes there. Marvelous. Alright, so that appears. Let's check Mythic Spoiler. That might be all the ones. Oh god, there's Brainstorm. Right, yeah, so these are. We have some promos. Ah! Yes, I know, Meow. I agree. Alright. Ultima. What do you do? Ultima. 3 white, destroy all artifacts and creatures and end the turn. That's a vibe. Witness my creation. This is bad. One of the worst things about board wipes, the main drawback is that your opponent gets to rebuild first. So like you board wipe, you pass the turn, they get to play out their threats first and then swing back at you. That's the main downside with board wipes. The upside is obviously the destroy everything on the board. You know when it's happening, so hopefully if you have it in your hand, you can sandbag it, not play as many creatures, goad your opponent into playing creatures, and then you kind of 3-for-1 them, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the downside is if they have any creatures, they get to rebuild first. You can kind of negate that by it being later in the game, so you can board wipe, and then if it's like turn 6 or 7, you cast a 5-mana board wipe, and then you can play a 2-drop. So you kind of you've at least got something back to like attack on your next turn, or at least kind of like you furthered your board state, so it's not as one-sided. Your opponent hasn't got that chance to rebuild first. But this ends the turn, which means you don't get the ability at any point to rebuild the board. This, I think, is dreadful, actually. My hot take is that this is a very bad matchup. I think you would rather run any other 5-mana board wipe ahead of this. Like, unless the destroy all artifacts is really relevant, and like, In most cases, it won't be. Like, yes, it's annoying if your opponent is like doing like equipment specifically, because they could, like, if they're just Voltroning up one creature, they just play any creature and then just re-equip all the stuff. Fine, like, fine, this is better then, but just like in generic games of like Magic and Commander, I don't think you care as much about destroy all artifacts. Like sideboardy, like for like this could oddly be more important for like Standard or Pioneer or something like that, where if they're expecting an artifact, like where like if they're expecting artifacts to be way more powerful coming up, then I can see this having a bit more of a place. But just for like Commander and Cube, like this actually seems like a dreadful Magic card. Is my guard. Let's actually just full screen. The art is very nice. I will give it that. The art is very pretty, and I am here for vibes of witness me. But I don't think this is a good Magic card. Just the end of the turn just kills it. Again, it's fully expect to see this in like a winning Standard list at some point in the next 5 years. How long? The next 3 years or so. But yeah, I'm not massively blown away by Ultima. Right, so I think that was all the new ones. Let's go over some of the ones we didn't get to yesterday, because there's a bunch of cool legendary creatures that I want to have a look at. Yeah, we have half an hour. Let's just catch up on some of these multicolored cards we didn't get to the other day, because there seems to be some very cool ones in here. So, Oranger, Orgerelt. Jesus, I'm gonna need to look up how to say a bunch of these. This is It is a white and a blue for a 1/3 legendary creature, Elf Advisor. Whenever you play a land from exile or cast a spell from exile, you gain 2 life. Ooh. I might need to make a note of this, because I'm literally building... We will get back to... I know it's been a hot minute. We were building a multiplayer cube that had as one of its archetypes cast stuff from exile. And this is perfect there. So I'm going to make a little note of this, and we'll come back to it. Let's actually keep reading the card, because I realise I've just stopped immediately. Draw Arcanum. Close enough. Tap, look at the top card of your library. You may exile it face down. Play Arcanum. Tap, until end of turn, you may play cards exiled with Oranga, or with this card name. Spells you cast this way cost 2 generic less to cast. This is cool. Is the 2 generic cards... You're just sort of foretelling them? Sort of. Yeah, nice little engine card. Doesn't seem like it does does a lot, but like ideally you want a way of untapping this, because it is a little slow. Like if you can build around this and make this work a bit more, because tapping to exile a card, getting it face down, and then tapping it until you may play cards, it's kind of that is very anemic. What I think is more likely here is like if you're playing this, you cast it as early as possible, then do this ability for a bunch of turns, do this for like 3 or 4 turns, and then in theory here, this will the 2 less to cast will let you have that multi-spell. That or that big turn where you're multi-spelling, do a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, I think that's the idea with this card. But the issue is that if this lad or lass dies, you can't do this part. So you're just exiling the top cards of your library. And if it doesn't live long enough to let you tap it and cast it, then you don't get those cards again. I think it's a cool card, and I like this space. I want them to do more stuff like Vega. I think this is a cool space. Seems a little slow unless you have ways of untapping it. Like, what we really want to do is untap. It's an aura, I think. One sec. We're cooking something. You want untap. Untap. Something like this, but cheaper. Something like Crabrumber. Untap enchanted creature. I swear, my upper school teacher wrecked me with a deck that was Cloud of there was like a pinging fairies and a way of paying mana to untap a creature. It was like a single blue untap target creature, untap enchanted creature, untap. We don't need to spend too long in the weeds of this, but effectively, we are looking for just ways of untapping it. Oh, is it? Yeah, stuff like Freed from the Real. Is that what it was? Is that what killed me as a kid? Stuff like Freed from the Real, where it's a single blue to untap enchanted creature. So with this lets us go through our deck for the amount of blue mana we have, for the amount of blue mana we have. We want ways of untapping, basically. I think with that, this could be a cool little combination of cards. All right, let's close all the Freed the Real stuff and keep going. Because we have a vibey Leviathan. Marvellous. Sin Unending Cataclysm. 5 blue and a green. Close enough. Legendary creature, Leviathan Avatar. It is a 5/5 with flying and trample. As it enters, remove all counters from any number of artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Sin enters with X +1 counters on it, where X is twice the number of counters removed this way. When it dies, put its counters on target creature you control, then shuffle this card into its owner's library. So this is a tricky one. You really need to be like 7 mana for a 5/5 flying trample in Commander in Simic. We can do better. Like, you really need to be in a deck where you can easily remove the counters. What's nice is that it does say remove all counters. It doesn't specify which. This lets you turn counters from one thing into +1/+1 counters. And why that is good, actually this is quite vibey, because this is going to be in the precon with Sagas, basically. That's actually quite fun. If you can cast this and reset, like, if you reset at least one Saga, then I think you're happy, but you could go quite ham with this. Like, maybe this is like the Tom Bombadil Saga Matter deck. Like, I like the idea of a Saga deck, but I bloody hate Tom Bombadil. He makes the Fellowship of the Ring an unreadable book, in my humble opinion. I've never gone back and reread Fellowship of the Ring because of this bastard. This whimsical bastard. But if you're building, if you have that deck, or if you have any Saga adjacent deck, I really think ways of taking off counters is one of the funnest ways to take it. Like, there are other Saga Matters commanders. Like, there's a very strong one, I think, from Modern Horizons 3 in Abzan. But specifically, this way of resetting them, just giving you value again and again, is really good. Because this is an ETB. There will be a Saga that flickers something. That's really strong, because then you can just keep resetting all of your Sagas so they never go away. Especially in this set, where they're also creatures, where you're going to be beating down with them. It's very much a build-around card. Like, you don't want to be, like, even just like taking +1/+1 counters off of a creature, I'm not super fussed by. Like, yes, you get double, but like, you're making one of your creatures worse to like suit up this one creature that just dies to anything. I think with this, yeah, you do this in the cards that kind of like want counters removed from them. So there are artifacts, like there's like not energy counters. It's like let's just look at the Chisei commander deck. There's a bunch of them in it. Chisei. Like this kind of, like, when we're looking at things to remove, this is what we're kind of looking at. Yeah, ooh, Kiora wins the draft pod. That one's pretty vibey. Like, this is the kind of stuff we want to be doing. We want to be making a repeatable 8/8s with it. That is good. Or Scroll of Isidore kind of sucks. You can just keep gaining control of your opponent's creatures. Like, this is the kind of stuff you want to be doing with this type of card, with the removing counters cards. That's actually strong. Glacial Chasm. Oh, can you just come and keep work with that? It works with Chisei anyway. Remove a type of counter. Yeah, this is the kind of nasty stuff you want to be doing with this deck. You don't want to be faffing around with my creature comes in with a +1/+1 counter. I'm going to cast my Sin Unending Cataclysm to put 2 +1/+1 counters on my Sin. Like, no, this is Commander. We can do We can do better. But that seems cool. I do kind of like the way that deck is looking. Alright. What do you do? Shalinda, Yvonne Acolyte. Probably pronounced that all wrong. Doesn't matter. Green and a white, 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric with lifelink. Whenever another creature you control enters, put a counter on that creature. If its power is less than this card's, otherwise put a counter on Shalinda. This is cool. Where do we want to run this? So this is kind of going in like your token go widey deck. Effectively, it's just doubling the power of all your tokens. Like this in a deck that makes a bunch of 1/1s. I think we like. Another creature. So if you play 2/2s, this will just get counters, so it has to be less than, which is fine. It does make all your 1-powered creatures work with persist combos, which is kind of vibey. Just anything that says put a counter on a creature when it comes in works with persist combos, but then this will work with anything with 1 power, so that's kind of cool. This could get really big. Like, you just play this on turn 2, and just you curve out, then Shalinda's going to be pretty big, and the lifelink is pretty nice. Solid card, I'm not blown away by it, but I think it's fine. That's the thing. Because this is a Universe Beyond set, there's so many legendary creatures, not all of them have to be commanders. That's something to kind of, like I don't think you're building... I mean, you could build Sin, actually, as a Simic version of the Shisei deck. Just stick it in with a bunch of Flicker, and then that's how you're doing it. Like, I am glad that they are... For the Final Fantasy fans out there, I'm glad that they are making everyone's favorite characters as cards. This is the one chance they have to make as many as possible. So there are so many legendary creatures. It doesn't mean that they all are going to be commanders. Like Shalinda, fine magic card. This doesn't have, like, in a normal set this wouldn't be legendary. It would be just a sign, or yeah, in a normal set this wouldn't be legendary. But in this set where there's a bunch of legendary characters to work from, they are going to make as many legendaries as possible just to give people the chance to build them if they wanted to. If that was your favorite card or your favorite character, you can now build it. But let's look at Setzer. Ooh, sorry, I need to sneeze again. One sec. I think my hay fever started to kick in. It's definitely getting to summer. Alright, Setzer, Wandering Gambler. 1 black and a red for a 2/2 legendary creature, human rogue pilot. Ooh, we love that. He's a bad boy. When Setzer enters, trait the Blackjack. A legendary 3/3 colors vehicle artifact token with flying and crew 2. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, flip a coin. Whenever you win a coin flip, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. The Blackjack. Ooh, we have the Blackjack. Ooh. Is this the only person that makes them? I think it might be so far. Okay. So. This is cool. There is plenty of stuff that just that just cares about flipping coins. This is probably the best place to take this if you're thinking of building it in Commander. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's been many other coin flips that we have seen in this set so far. So I'm assuming this is very much this is what this character does. Release date, I guess. Yeah. So currently this is the only and we've had the whole Commander deck spot. So this is very much a, if you like flipping coin type deck, then this is something you can either add to it. I don't think we've seen many in black-red. I know red has a bunch of flipping coins. So getting a commander that does black as well is quite nice. Yeah, you can make a lot of mana with this. Obviously, you are probably gonna adding vehicles to your conflict deck is quite interesting. Like I don't know how this will play in, like, this feels like a bit of an outlier in the actual commander deck like that you're buying with this. But as a commander, yeah, if you like vehicles, like there are some very cool vehicles in red and black and coin flips. That could be fun. A nice little take from A, take from B, smush, get a cool bit of synergy. Yeah, seems fine. If you can, you want to be making a lot of treasure in this deck. Is kind of what I'm thinking, to ramp out some big vehicles. That seems cool. We like that. Alright, I think we looked at you. Did we look at you? I don't think we did. Let's look at this Beast Warrior. Red 13. Proud Warrior. 1 red and a green. Legendary creature, Beast Warrior. Vigilance, Trample. Other modified creatures you control have Vigilance and Trample. Cosmo Memory. Whenever it enters, return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. This seems pretty solid, actually. Just as a... This effectively reads like... Where this will have the most use, I think, is in +1/+1 on counter decks. Because effectively, this is like a much better version of of like all of these. So like Tuskguard champion, for example. This is just like the 2025 came calling. This is what we do now, because modified includes counters. So if you are in a Gruul deck and you're doing anything counters, this gets really good, actually. Just giving anything trample. If your commander cares about counters in any way, just giving it and other stuff in your deck trample is really strong. Like there was a whole precon from Kamigawa. Modified. Yeah, this lad. There was a whole deck in Kamigawa built around it. So if you already have this, or you think, or anything like this, then Red 13 seems very strong there. I think this feels like more one for in the deck, a role player, rather than a commander by itself, because that precon already exists. Specifically in these colors, doing modified a little bit better, I think. But it's a nice. It's a lot of magic card. 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance Trample is just pretty solid. And then giving your other stuff Vigilance and Trample is also very good. And then it oddly has the ability to return, like, is it fetching? Is that the gimmick? Return an aura equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. That seems pretty good, actually. It's just like, if you're in this deck, then this card does a little bit of everything. It's very much 2025 design space, where it's like, oh, it does this, it does this, it does this. It's only 3 mana and it's a 3/3. I love that. All right. What in the hell are you? Papalimo. Totolimo. I'm so sorry to Final Fantasy fans out there. We are doing our best. It is a white and a black for a 1/2 legendary creature, Dwarf Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. That's a vibe. 4 and tap, sacrifice it. Each opponent who lost life this turn, sacrifice a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. This is a very unique effect. We don't normally get, like, spell slinger pingers in these colors. In Orzhov. I remembered. Yes, in Orzhov. This is normally stuff you see in, like, mono red. Or, like, is it adjacent colors? That's very cool. Like, the thought of like this in like a Grixis deck. No, sorry, not Grixis. Esper deck, like an Esper Spellslinger deck, seems really cool. And this seems like a great card there. This is definitely like kind of a design space we have not seen them go down before, because like normally this kind of colors is like whenever you do stuff with creatures, you ping them or you drain them, this kind of stuff. Like, but this is effectively a Blood Artist, but for non-creature spells. That's very cool. This feels like a bit of a break of the color pie, if I'm honest with you. Like, in terms of like these colors do this, these colors do that. Yeah, this is a weird card. I'm here for it. It's cool, and it's just reading this line of text isn't something that I was expecting to see. Like, this deal 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. That's very Orzhov. But cast non-creature spell isn't. Like, if one. This is a unique spell. So the thing with it being in like blue and red adjacent cards is that red has like burn spells, it has rummaging effects, blue has cantrips. That's kind of why you generally see non-creature spell stuff in that. They're kind of in that vein of the color pie. Whereas like the cheap spells that like black and white have is things like hand attack, removal. You don't have as much kind of card draw. There's a bit in black, but not as much of a great deal. There is a bunch of the Undying effects, so that you could run a bunch of those maybe. That could be quite cool. Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird one. Like Undying effects with this seem quite funny. Like, that's actually pretty good. Like, Undying effects with this sack trigger. So you sack it, or you cast an Undying effect, trigger. By Undying effect, I mean effects that I always do Undying Evil, but it's like Undying Malice is a better one. Until end of turn, target exchange. When this creature dies, returns back to a tapped under its owner's control. So you cast this. Each opponent gets pinged for 1. You gain a life. You then sack it. It doubles up. It doubles that up. Or each opponent will then sacrifice their biggest creature. But then, because of Undying Malice, this will come back into play. That's pretty cool, actually. That's a nice little loop that kind of we just haven't really had before. When I started reading Papalymo Totolimo, I wasn't expected to be as excited, but that's a very cool card. Mog Moogle Warrior. 1 red and a white. Legendary creature, Moogle Warrior. 1/2. Moogle just sounds nice. It's very Auntie Donna, the word Moogle, but maybe this is where they got it from. Moogie. 1/2 lifelink with Dance. At the beginning of your end step, each player may discard a card. Each player who discarded a card this way draws a card. If a creature was discarded this way, you create a 1/2 white Moogle creature token with lifelink. Then if a non-creature card was discarded this way, put some counter on each Moogle you control. Is this the Moogle Matters commander? How many Moogles have we seen? I don't know if there's going to be... Is there enough? No. So we might see more in the set, which you would need. I'm guessing that this is the Moogle commander of choice if you want to build the Moogle Matters deck. I'm saying the word Moogle way too much. But yeah, you want ways of reactivating this because this is the Moogle token maker. Yeah, this is very much if you want to build the Moogle deck. This is it. Yeah, I like it. It's almost group huggy, which is which is the vibe I'm getting from the Moogles, as it were. Yeah, it's almost group huggy, but being in Boros is kind of cool. Yeah, cool card. I think you want more Moogles, basically. Hopefully, there are more Moogles to bring this deck together. Otherwise, you are really going to be leaning into this. Yeah, fun card. We like it. Alright. What do you do now? Liss Hexed. 1 white and a blue. Legendary creature, human rebel monk with prowess. That's a good start. It's a 2/2. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 generate less to cast. I'm liking this card. As long as you cast 2 or more non-creature spells a turn, Liss Hex has double strike. This is a cool card. Yeah, 3 mana, 2/2 prowess. That would be a fine... That is a fine Magic card. That exists, and is pretty solid in one-on-one formats. Obviously, this is a commander card, but I'm thinking of this maybe more for Cube, if you're doing like a Spellsy deck. It having the cost reduction baked into it is very nice, and then it also being a double striker. This is kind of very much the... Here is one card that's going to do everything. This is very strong, if I'm honest with you. In a cube, if you are doing anything kind of spell slingery or any kind of thing spellsy, this is just very good. Like 3 mana spell with just this line of text. I have seen running cubes nowadays because it's a storm card. But the fact that it can also beat down your opponent with prowess and double strike. You only need to cast 2 cantrips, and this is a 4/4 double strike. This is very good. I don't really have Spell Slinger in any of my cubes, but this is kind of a very strong card in that. Yeah, this card just does a bit of everything. Like you can be aggressive, but honestly, just this line of text and this line of text would be enough to consider it in some cubes. Just makes your storm turn that little bit easier. But then, so I'm liking the fact that it does go into all of the spell adjacent decks. That's kind of one of the issues I have with Spellslinger in my cube, is that where I found it struggle anyway is that basically it's a deck that needs you to take a bunch of blue and red creatures, but then you need to get all of the good blue spells and all of the good red spells. The issue is that people generally know that blue instants in a cube and red instants in a cube and sorceries are generally quite good. Like, you don't often... Like people take Mana Leak quite highly in most cubes. Because it's very good. Same with, like, Lightning Bolt. It's a good Magic card. Like, anyone... Like, these aren't cards that just go to the Spellslinger deck. Any deck who's touching these colours is going to take them. So that is maybe where in Cube this could struggle a little bit, but just as a Magic card, like, I'm not... Commander, I do think kind of like this kind of, like, it's fine in Commander, if I'm honest with you. Again, just the non-creature spells is a reason to put it in any kind of Spellslingy Commander deck, but just like, I'm thinking more one-on-one, this card seems quite fun. This is a card we're probably going to have to make a note of and test in Cube. Or let's talk about it on our Cube podcast, Power for Nothing, like, share, subscribe, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with me. Alright, Krill Baldison, white and a blue, 2/1 lifelink legendary creature, dwarf wizard, Trace Aether. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may return target creature card with mana value equal to that spell's mana value from your graveyard to your hand. Do this only once each turn. This is pretty cool. Yeah, another one for that kind of spell deck. It's just a nice bit of utility. Oh, equal to. Okay, actually, I hate this card. Actually, I hate this card. I can't be arsed with this. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may return target creature card with mana value equal. That's a bit of a pain, if I'm honest with you. Like, in Commander, I can't be arsed with this because you're going to have. This wants you to have a relatively even amount of non-creature spells and creature spells of the same mana value. As someone who struggles to put a birthing pod chain together, effectively you're doing that twice. You're having 2 birthing pod chains in your deck with this, one for spells, one for creatures. In one-on-one formats, like probably like Canadian Highlander and maybe Cube, like where just that density exists, like honestly, mana leaking their 2-drop, mana leaking a spell and getting back a Snapcaster Mage or a Malcolm in Cube, that's where I think this could work. Or like pathing their creature, getting back your Mother Runes. That's kind of where I think this is good. Like, but just because in Commander, because like in one-on-one decks, the curve is lower because the games don't go as long. You're not spending turns ramping. Basically, in Commander, what I'm trying to say is you have a wider range of cards for your curve. You have there's more variety in how much spells costs. Like, you have more. It's way too erratic. Whereas in a Cube deck, you're going to have a bunch of 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drops, and then a couple of, like, it's just less cards. Like, it's less of a spread. Where with this type of deck, it really wants you to have spells and creatures that match mana value, and I think one-on-one is going to be a bit more powerful. Like in one-on-one formats, like in Vintage Cube, just another way of rebuying your Ancestral or your Time Walk. Stuff like that. Anything that will let you do that, just rebuy the most powerful spells in Magic, is going to be really strong. So this is probably one for Vintage Cube, or probably one for Canadian Highlander, would be my guess, because when you can build around it. Like in Commander, you're not going to build around this, but in Canadian Highlander, where like where there is like the point system and stuff, like, I don't know if this is good enough, but like in Canadian Highlander, you cast. I mean, as you know, it's non-creature brings back a creature. So I was going to say, you cast your Black Lotus to bring back your Ornithopter. That is not good. But like, there will be some chains like that where it's like, you cast your cheap spell, getting back your good utility creature, that kind of stuff. There will be ways in those formats where this card is strong. My gut is for Commander, this doesn't get there. Not for me, anyway. Alright. Lock Treasure Hunter. 1 black and a red for a 2/3 legendary creature, human rogue. Another bad boy. Lock can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Ooh, is that not just Skulk? But okay. It has the word mug. Whenever Lock attacks, each player mills a card. If a land card was milled this way, create a treasure token. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those cards. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Again, it doesn't. It sort of has evasion. No, it does have evasion. So if it's generally going to survive through combat because it's going to have. So it can only be blocked by two powered creatures. So it's going to survive through combat. This is kind of cool. It is an attack trigger, which is nice. This is kind of in the vein of like some of the like gimmicky Warhammer cards, where kind of like it's always going to survive through combat and no matter what you do. So yeah, the fact it doesn't have to deal damage; it's just an attack trigger. It's quite nice because you are going to be repeatedly getting this through, or repeatedly getting the trigger and it not dying in combat, which is quite nice. Yeah, this is fine. We like this. Sorry, the cat's meowing. We'll check on her in a sec. Right. Yep, we have a few more to get through. Let's see what we got. Meow. Oh, she's inside, is the main thing. Right. Kamari, Valiant Guardian. 2 green and a blue. For a legendary creature, Cat Warrior. Perfectly on time, darling. Meow. Come back. Come on. Come on. Stop. She's playing hard to get. Oh, there we go. Yes. Alright, we have our little Cat Warrior. 3/3 Vigilance, Ronso Rage. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1 counter on it and tap target creature an opponent controls. Then you may have Kamari become a copy of that creature, except its name is Kamari Valiant Guardian and has Vigilance and this ability. That's kind of cool. I like this. I like these kind of weird effects that turn creatures into copies of other creatures and are repeatable. I think is quite fun. Just repeatedly going around and becoming the best creature on the board. That's kind of a vibe. I am kind of here for that. Yeah, I don't... With these kind of... This very much falls into one where, although it is a Cat Warrior, and we love Cat Warriors in this house, you've got fluff on you, darling. This doesn't feel like one that is as good as a commander. It could be. But it kind of... It's hard to do this as a Voltron, because, like, ideally, you want to know what your opponent's creatures are going to be. And if they're just putting out a bunch of 1/1s, it doesn't really excite me, as it were. But just as a cool card in a deck, I think this is fine. This is very much like I have a lower powered level deck, and I just want to do some goofy stuff. This seems great there. There is definitely a place for that in Commander, and something I should probably play more of. Goofy cards that I like. Kefka, Dancing Mad. 5 black and a red for a 6/6 legendary creature human wizard. During your turn, it is indestructible. At the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each opponent's graveyard. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Then each player who owns a spell you cast this way loses life equal to its mana value. That's very cool. Like, the random part is tricky because you could whiff. Or you could get, like, 1 mana spells. But, like, it is a lot of value. And it's at the beginning of your end step. So if you have a way of getting this into play, it's got random from each opponent's graveyard. You may cast any number. That's kind of cool. Like, you are relying on your opponents to have good stuff, but, like, it's, in theory, if your opponents know what they're doing, they're not putting bad cards in their deck. You'd hope anyway. But just getting this... Like, it is 7 mana, which is a lot. It doesn't have any form of evasion, which is not great. But it is vibey. Yeah, I don't think this is a super strong Magic card. Like, if you have ways of controlling what's in your opponent's graveyards, like there are plenty of decks in Grixis that kind of, like, muck around with your opponent's graveyards and you can control them and cast spells from them. But if you have ways of controlling the stuff that's left in your opponent's graveyard, then I like this a bit more. That's how you would build this as a commander deck, but just as a card, yeah, this is kind of in the same vein as the last one. Like, it's a cool card that I would like someone to play against me because I think it's interesting. Not necessarily the most strong, but it's interesting. Alright, how are we going to pronounce this one? Estinian Varliniu. Just got to commit with these things. We probably got it right. 2 white and a black, 3/3 legendary creature, elf warrior. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1 counter on it. It gains flying until its turn. Okay, cool. At the beginning of your second main phase, you draw X cards and lose its life, where X is the number of your opponents who were dealt combat damage by this card or a dragon this turn. What is this? It's kind of... Alright, I'm just going to say, this gives me the vibe of the Dark Magician riding a Blue Eyes White Dragon. I'm just going to say it. I'm putting it out there. Yeah, weird card. So we are, as we saw with the guard previously. I like that they are pushing non-creature spell matters into black-white. That's kind of cool. It is opening up a whole, like, there's a whole bunch of cards for a new archetype now, like an Esper Spellslinger deck, or maybe even a Mardu Spellslinger deck. Actually, that could be quite cool as well. I think you do need to partner it with blue or red just to give you kind of a bit more redundancy, because there's not that many bits yet. But that's pretty cool. Like, we've not this is a cool way that they are pushing it. This bottom line of text, I think, makes this card unplayable or not unplayable. Just like this is a card for the precon or for building around, because it needs to be dealt damage by this creature and a dragon. Oh, or a dragon. I'm stupid. Okay. So I like this a bit more. It is more self-contained. Like, basically ignore the dragon part for the majority of times if you're playing this outside of the precon. It's got flying, so okay. Okay, sorry, we're back. We're back on liking this card again. It is a bit overcosted for what it is. You do need to follow it up with a spell to be happy with it. You want this to be a 4/4 creature that flies and gets an attack in, and then you draw a card, lose a life. That's fine. That is solid. A 4-mana 4/4 flyer that can draw you a card on your turn. We like that. That is okay. Just the dragon part, ignore if you're building this card or building this deck. I wouldn't read too much into that. Edgar, Master Machinist. 2 red and a white. Legendary creature, human, artificer, noble. 2/4. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact spell from your graveyard. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact instantly tapped. It has tools. Whenever it attacks, it gets +6/+0 until end turn. Greatest mana value among artifacts you control. This is pretty strong. Just getting... There's a bunch of kind of like loops and stuff that just want the ability to just kick... Like, this is kind of like the starting motor in a bunch of different engines. Like, just letting you... Like, I'm thinking like eggs. I'm thinking Crack Clan Ironworks. I'm thinking just doing stuff where you're just... Where all you need is just the ability to recast one spell from your graveyard, and if you have this in the command zone, then that can be very strong. Where you're really building an engine of just kind of like, I have this and this and this, and then I will kind of like, I'll take a billion game actions, and I will ping my opponent for 1 damage. That is kind of where I'm seeing this. I spend 20 minutes faffing around, you take 1. I will repeat this. Yeah. Just having access to that in the command zone, I think, could be quite strong for those decks. That's pretty good. I've just seen the time. We might need to end it there. There's a couple we didn't get to. Oh, there's only these two. I think we did Bannon yesterday. All right, we'll do Adbert, and then we'll call it for today. Adbert, Warrior of Darkness, 1, white-black. 2/2 legendary creature, Spirit Warrior. Whenever you cast a white spell, put a count on each legendary creature you control. They gain Vigilance until end turn. Whenever you cast a black spell, put up some count on each legendary creature you control. They gain Medicine until end turn. That's pretty good, actually. Very much fits into the Legends Matters deck. We looked at Yoshimaru, I think, yesterday when we were talking about this. Because the best boy, or the best pupper, this kind of Legends Matters deck seems pretty strong. Obviously, if you are building this deck, you want as many white-black, because it will trigger... Like, if you cast another Orzhov card, they would get both, which is pretty good. This might be one for SpongeBob. This might be the card I add from this set to SpongeBob, just because it's a deck that cares about legendary creatures and having multiple colors. So this could be pretty... Yeah. Seems like a cool card. We'll go in that legend deck that probably already exists with Yoshimaru as the leader. Alright, that's where we're going to have to leave it for today. Need to go start the day job. We'll be back tomorrow with some more spoilers. Again, let me know what commanders you want me to build in the set. We have, shockingly, a bloody lot of options, and I need you all to help me out and tell me what you want me to build. Otherwise, I will just build the nonsense that I want. So it's up to you. If you want me to build... Tell me what you want from this set, and we'll have a look at it. That's where we're going to leave it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Always appreciated. A bunch of people in here today. Thank you all for spending your mornings with us. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from the cat. Until tomorrow morning, we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.